Hey guys, so this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And I finally had the opportunity to do this today. I just went to the grocery store, and I have here on the counter laid out everything. Basically, it's my entire grocery trip for the week. Um, my grocery, I'm on a pretty tight budget, so my grocery budget is about $100 a week, and that includes that includes staples or other things like, I don't know, dishwashing detergent or toothpaste or just whatever. So I really have to stay on a pretty strict budget, and I've found a way to do that and still get the foods that I need. um, but the upside to that is, and when I go into the grocery store, I pull up my calculator on my phone, and everything that goes in the basket, I plug it into the calculator. So if I already know if I'm going to be a little bit over when I get up to the cash register, but I also am very conscious of what I am spending, because obviously, I mean, every grocery trip, it's, I leave the house and I say, okay, I'm not going to spend more than such and such. And I usually do, because there's always something that you remember you need and you have to throw it in the cart. But generally, I try and stay at around $100 budget a week. And again, it's just me here in the house. So to be honest, that's pretty doable. I mean, you shouldn't be spending, for just one individual person, you shouldn't be spending $150, $200 a week on groceries. I just don't. I don't see how. I don't see why. Again, I'm not talking about other stuff you need. I'm talking about mainly just food items. If you're spending more than $150 or $200 a week, you're either not spending wisely, or you're just eating too much food. So I'm going to pan back around here, and kind of walk through what I have here. And then I'll kind of go into as far as the meals and stuff. So give me just one
Okay, so
second.
this is more or less my weekly um, grocery trip. Um, there's a few things. For instance, probably one of the biggest staples in my diet every week. It's not the Rice Krispie treats. It's the whey protein. Now, the whey protein is not included in my grocery budget. I ordered this separately. Um, I'm going through I'm going through about 11 pounds of this whey protein a month. And that's a lot of protein, but uh, the lion's share of my daily protein intake is also coming from these shakes. And I'm actually going to do a separate video of just my protein shakes, and I'll kind of go into the details as to why I'm using my protein shakes for the brunt of my protein each day. Um, it's a couple things. One thing is to keep my calories down. I am trying to take in about 3,000 calories a day total, but I don't want the protein shakes themselves to be like 1,500 calories of that. So the way I do it, this is unflavored, and there is literally nothing in this protein. And this is also important, guys. If you're looking at protein powders, and if you're looking to have protein shakes each day, um, the stuff that you buy in the store, especially anything that's flavored, I don't care what flavor it is, it's going to have sugar in it. It's going to have a ton of ingredients in it that you don't need. And if you think about it, that's basically like filler. So when you buy those big tubs of protein that are 40 or $50, you're paying for a lot of filler ingredients that you don't even need. So you're kind of overspending. So this whey protein here, this is about, I don't know, it's maybe around 80-ish a bag. This is a 5.5 pound bag, and they used to actually come in 11-pound bags. They were these huge sacks, but now what they do is they send you two 5.5 pound bags. So I go through about 11 pounds of whey protein isolate a month. I get the unflavored. That way I can actually flavor the shakes myself. But if you notice, it has, let me see, where's the ingredients? That's it. That's all the ingredients that are in this protein. It's 90 calories. There's 100 servings in each bag. If you notice, there's 22 grams of protein in each scoop. There's no sugar. There's only 1 gram of carbohydrate. So if you're on some kind of carbohydrate restricted diet, this is great. It doesn't have a whole lot of other nutrients in it, so to speak, but you're also getting that from the food you're eating. So this is mainly, the protein itself is mainly to get you up to the amount of protein you need. Now this protein powder does contain glutamine, and it also contains some branched chain amino acids. I'll also go into that a little bit more in detail when I do my dedicated protein shake video. But so again, here's my weekly grocery trip. Usually for breakfast, I have three soft-boiled eggs. I'll have a couple pieces of toast. And again, some of this stuff, I'm not, because I'm very funny about my calories anyway, and I know exactly what I'm eating. I can afford to splurge a little bit when it comes to certain things. So I don't go overboard and do 100% whole wheat bread or something like that. You can, and I have in the past, but I don't know. I just like my good old fashioned white processed bread. And when I look at the food that I'm actually consuming each week, the little bit of quote unquote processed foods that I'm eating, such as the white bread, it's negligible. It's not that big of a deal. So this is kind of how I cheat a little bit when it comes to my diet. I want to be restrictive with it so that it's healthy, but I also don't want to feel like I'm being too restrictive. So if I want white bread, I have my white bread. So I'll have a few pieces of toast. I'll have my 3 soft-boiled eggs. And then the other thing I'll have for breakfast is I'll have some oatmeal. Now, this is sugar-free. I always get the sugar-free because, again, you don't need all that extra sugar. That's just extra calories. It's empty calories. And if you are trying to stay within a certain amount of calories per day, the less sugar you take in, the better. So I get the sugar-free oatmeal. I actually do 2 packets of these a day. So it's not much. It's only about 200 calories for the oatmeal itself. The eggs are, 70. The eggs are another 210 calories. And then of course the bread, I think the bread is what is this? It's 140 calories for 2 slices. So breakfast, roughly is around 500 or 600-ish calories. Plus I also have a protein shake first thing in the morning, and that's close to another 250 calories. So my breakfast is a decent amount of calories. It's 750 to 800 calories ish. But it consists of mostly protein because of the shake. My breakfast is usually about 80-ish grams of protein every day. Because my goal is to take in about 250 grams of protein a day. So I kind of have my meals I have my meals factored in so that between the meals and the protein shakes, I pretty much hit it. So breakfast, and breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's the one that gets your metabolism revved and gets you moving. And the reason I do a lot of protein at each meal anyway, but especially for breakfast, you need that protein because it could be 3 or 4 hours before you eat lunch. So the more protein you take in the morning at breakfast, it satiates you longer, so you're not hungry at 9 a.m. Then for lunch and dinner, I usually have so I have ground turkey here. I usually get the 85% lean, because if there's one macro that I do have less in my diet than I probably should, it's fats. I'm very high in protein. I'm pretty spot on with the carbs. But my fats, which should be, I think, around 20%-ish a day, I probably am actually lacking in fats. And that's just been from years of programming myself that fat is bad and I don't want to eat too much fat. But in reality, you do have to have some fat in your diet. However, it has to be the right fats. So I usually get the 85% lean turkey, and I'll go ahead and I'll cook this. And so for lunch, it's usually lunch or dinner each day is ground turkey and some of this yellow rice. I use the yellow rice just because it has a little bit of flavor. I'm not a big spice person, and I'm not a huge flavorings person. My diet is pretty bland, so but the rice gives it a good flavor. Then for either lunch or dinner, I'll also bake flounder fillets. And I meal prep all of this stuff, guys, over the weekend. So I meal prep the turkey, I meal prep the flounder, I meal prep, I cook all the rice I need. Everything is in the fridge, and it's just ready for me to dole out into containers if I'm going to work and I have to take it with me or whatever. So I only meal prep basically just the once a week, and then it's just nuking all my meals for the week. So lunch and or dinner is either flounder. The flounder, I will bake it, but what I do, again, to sneak a little bit of fat into my diet, I brush all the flounder fillets with mayonnaise, which gives it a really good flavor and helps it from drying out, because fish, when you bake it, it can dry out. So the mayonnaise actually keeps it from drying out. And then on top of the mayo, I'll just sprinkle some breadcrumbs, like some Italian breadcrumbs. I mean, again, it's not a necessity, but it gives the fish a good texture, and it also sneaks some extra carbs in there, just a little bit, but just, some. So flounder and rice, or turkey and rice, is dinner, lunch and or dinner. Let me see. For dinner, and I always try and take in at least some kind of green vegetable every day. My green vegetable choice is spinach. It has a lot of iron in it, and if you remember when I was back in the hospital back in March, I lost a lot of blood, and so one of the things I got used to eating back toward the beginning of the year was a lot of spinach each day. One bag is basically 2 meals. So, because, it looks like a lot, but after you cook it down, there's not much to it. So, oh, and I forgot, I don't have it sitting here, but I don't really use real butter much. I use I can't believe it's not butter spray. It tastes amazing. It literally, according to the back of the bottle, has like no anything in it. It's just, I'm sure it has some calories in it, but it's negligible. So I will spray the spinach with the I can't believe it's not butter spray, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and I'm good to go with the spinach. Let's see, on mornings when I don't feel like having the oatmeal back there, I will substitute the oatmeal for cottage cheese. And again, this is going to sound like a large portion, but it's not. For one meal, it's basically half this container. And again, I'm trying to get in about 3,000 calories a day. So, half of this container is, I think it's like 300 and... Yeah, half the container is 330 calories because there's 6 servings in this. And there's a ton of protein in this too. Cottage cheese is great for protein. So if I have half of this at one meal, I'm taking in 36 grams of protein just in the cottage cheese alone. So sometimes I will have cottage cheese instead of the oatmeal, and just so I can say I got some fruit into my diet too. I get the mandarin oranges. Again, no sugar added. Guys, you don't need to get fruit at the grocery store. If you have to buy canned fruit, don't get the stuff that's in heavy syrup. Again, it's fruit. It's already going to be sweet. And I have tried sugar-free. The oranges are wonderful. I've done sugar-free applesauce. I've done, whenever if I have to buy canned fruit so it's easy and quick, I always get the no sugar added. It's just in water. You drain it, you eat it. It's great. All that syrup, really think about it. Look at the can. When you go into the store, look at the back back of the can and look at all of the crap that's in that can with the fruit. I mean, again, it's like it's peaches. Peaches are already going to be sweet. Why does it have to be suspended in a bunch of corn syrup and sugar? It just doesn't make any sense. Even the light syrup, it doesn't, there's no sense to it. A lot of eating healthy and losing and or maintaining a weight is just being smart. So I do the sugar-free, the no sugar added. I'll do mandarin oranges. Again, one can lasts me, it's like one can for each thing of cottage cheese. So this here is like 2 meals. I drink a ton of water every day. I literally have a gallon jug, and I fill this thing up every day. When I go to the office, I take the gallon jug. When I come home, I bring it back home with me. I drink from the same jug all day. And the reason I do that is because that is my gauge. That way I know exactly how much water I'm drinking every day. And my water bottle here, I think this is maybe 32 ounces. But, like if I'm down in the gym for 2 or 3 hours, I will go through at least 2 bottles of water just in the gym. So it sounds like a lot of water, and people ask me all the time, isn't a gallon of water a day a lot? Well, no, not really. It's, you drink what your body needs. So, and there are days I won't go through the whole gallon, but most days I'll almost polish off the gallon of water between waking and going to bed. I don't like, drinking just plain water because let's face it, it's boring. So I get the flavored stuff and I'll just shoot some of this in. And again, this is, it doesn't really have any sugar in it. This is, I think it's aspartame. Oh, that's another thing. Don't be afraid of artificial sweeteners. The things that people are afraid of is ridiculous. The little bit of artificial sweetener that's in a squirt or 2 of this, to get like a toxic amount of aspartame in your system, you would literally have to drink 6 2-liter bottles of soda that is sweetened with that stuff. 6 2-liter bottles a day. Now that would be like a toxic amount of aspartame. So when you look at it that way, the little bit that's in this, it just stop worrying about it. People worry about the wrong stuff. I have peanut butter because if I'm feeling peckish, or sometimes if I am a little bit hungry before I go down to the gym, I don't want to put too much in my stomach because that's just gross. Like, when I'm working out, I don't want to be on a full stomach. So before I go down to the gym, I'll have a protein shake, just a small protein shake. And then if I do feel like I need something in my tummy besides the shake, then I'll just make a quick peanut butter in the bread, just a quick peanut butter sandwich. It gives me some carbs for energy. Speaking of that, so here's one of my little cheats for each day is my Rice Krispie treats. They only have about 90 calories for one of them. But they're a fast digesting carb. So the Rice Krispie treats are actually, this is kind of like my pre-workout carb. So what I do is I eat one before I go downstairs to the gym, and then I take another Rice Krispie treat downstairs with me. So if I'm down there for 2.5, 3 hours, maybe halfway through, I'll chomp on another Rice Krispie treat to give me some energy. I do not take a pre-workout at all. Because of my heart, I try to be careful with my caffeine intake, and pre-workouts are nothing but caffeine. And I have taken pre-workouts before, and to be completely honest, I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't like that tingly feeling they give you. I just don't like pre-workouts. I don't think they're necessary. I would find that I felt focused when I took one, when I would take a pre-workout. I felt focused when I was in the gym, but like I say, it's not, if you're having fun down there to begin with in the gym, you're already focused. So I stay away from pre-workouts altogether. To me, it's just another unnecessary expense, and I am on a budget. When the other thing I had to get used to, into my diet after the hospital back in March when I was trying to boost my iron back and get my iron in my blood back up to a normal amount was red meat. And again, red meat, everybody, it's red flags. Everybody's like, oh, red meat will do this to you and that. Not if you don't eat it every day. Red meat is perfectly fine. Once or twice a week. Now, because I don't, again, I'm kind of on a budget, and I also just, I don't want to spend too much time, meal prepping. So what I do, because it's just easy and quick, is I get these, this is roast beef. Now, this is actually one meal for me, and it is a lot. One of these is about 80 grams of protein for the entire package. Then I have like this little meatloaf. This stuff really isn't bad. And again, it's like 60-ish grams of protein, I think, for the entire package. So I only eat something like this like twice a week, because this is kind of more of a processed food. But for a quick meal that fills you up, especially like this, I'll eat something like this after a really long gym session when I am hungry and I want to take in a bunch of protein. I'll nuke one of these, and then I'll have just some regular mashed potatoes with one of those two things. So again, those are kind of cheat meals for me. They're really tasty. They're actually pretty healthy. These do have some fat in it, but again, because my fat intake is actually probably lower than it should be. I kind of justify some of this stuff because it helps get some fat into my diet throughout the week. Milk is a huge thing for me. I use it for all my protein shakes. I use about a half a cup for each protein shake. And then, throughout the day, I'll maybe drink just a small glass of milk as well. Again, it's for the protein, it's the calcium, everything. And I love milk. So thank God I'm not lactose intolerant. So every day I do have some milk. Let's see, what didn't I cover yet? I think I pretty much covered everything that's here on the counter. So yeah, those are basically, these are my meals. These are all the ingredients. It's very simple. You can see it's not like uber strict. I do have my Rice Krispie treats. I do have a little bit of processed food, but for the most part, my day is very healthy, and this really is my weekly grocery trip. And I don't really deviate from this daily diet very often. I do have some cheat meals, and there will be times when I just want something special on a weekend or whatever, and I'll allow it. If I can afford it, I'll allow it. But for the most part, I pretty much keep my meals very simple, very easy. And it's great because even if I forget to jot down a grocery list, I pretty much know what I need anyway. So when I go into the grocery store, I know exactly where to get everything I need. There are some other things that are not here that that I do throw into my diet every now and then. I will throw some cheese into my diet to give myself some extra protein and some fats. When I boil the rice, I put a little bit of olive oil in with the water when it boils to help keep the rice from sticking. And the olive oil is a really healthy fat. So that is, again, just a way to get just a smidgen of extra fat into my diet. Of course, there's some fat in the milk. But this is pretty much it. This is my diet. This is my grocery trip, and it works for me. Fortunately, I'm a pretty boring person, and when it comes to food anyway, and I'm just not one of those people that looks at food as a pleasure. Of course, I want it to taste good, but food is fuel for your body. So if you have the mentality that every single meal you have to eat has to taste amazing, then you kind of have the wrong mindset when it comes to food. You do want it to taste good, but pleasure is not the main reason for you eating. It's to fuel your body. So if you start shifting your mindset to that, um, then it really helps when you go to make, food decisions, and it helps keep you from making, knee-jerk decisions when it comes to meals and whatnot. But this, and I don't really get bored with this diet. I'm just so used to it now that it really doesn't bother me. It's like I said, it's simple, it's easy, it's relatively inexpensive, and it's working for me. I have not actually quote unquote dieted in at least a year. I've gotten my metabolism to a point where it's pretty much revved up and burning all the time, and I'm able to take in anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 calories a day and not gain weight. I do weigh myself every morning, just for funsies, but my weight never really goes above 175. It's more, the more normal weight on the scale is right around 170, 171, and it's been that way for months. Now I have seen, as I've put on muscle, I've also seen, I've leaned down too. I have less body fat. So the scale doesn't move that much, but I can tell just in the changes to my body that, I'm leaning out and I'm losing a little bit of fat, but I'm putting on some muscle at the same time. So that's why the scale doesn't really change too much. And the biggest thing is I can still fit into all my clothes. That's one of the biggest indicators as to whether you're losing or gaining weight, is how do your clothes fit. My clothes still fit exactly the same way that they fit a year ago. So what I'm doing right now works well for me. It's not for everybody, but it works for me. And it's maintainable for me. So this is my diet. And let me see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to. Let me pan back around.
Okay, so now that you've listened to me ramble for like 25 minutes, uh, so yeah, so this is my diet, um, and no, again, I do cheat. I do allow myself things like over the holidays. I did my Christmas cookies and I ate my Christmas cookies. I made homemade Chex Mix, which who doesn't love that? So I do indulge in stuff, but I'm also down in the gym for at least 2 hours a night. So that's my trade-off. And plus I love being down in the gym anyway. But if I'm going to eat something that's kind of naughty for me, I know that I'm balancing that with the gym itself and with a healthy diet for most of the time. So I mean, if I had a life and I went out to dinner with people and had and restaurants and stuff, I would still do that too, and I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. I'd be like, I'm going to eat what I want because that one meal is not going to throw me off at all. But it took a long time to get my metabolism to the point where it was firing constantly, and the main thing that I had been doing wrong for so many years is I was not taking in as many calories as I should have actually. I had this mental block that if I wanted to lose weight or maintain my weight, I needed to take in less calories. And what that actually did is it was actually slowing down my metabolism. It was preventing me from, getting where I wanted in the gym. I wasn't putting on the muscle that I wanted to put on because I wasn't feeding myself enough. And the protein as well. They say you should have 1 gram of protein for every pound of your body weight. That wasn't working for me. I didn't get shoulders until I bumped it up to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And I also bumped up my calories. That's when I really started to notice a difference. And I was kind of afraid at first because I thought, uh-oh, I'm going to get fat. But I didn't. If anything, I actually leaned down more. So everybody's body is different. So what works for me may not work for other people, but this is a basic enough kind of diet that you could try it and tweak it to your own needs. And when I first did this diet, this is going to sound crazy and people think I'm nuts, but I have an Excel spreadsheet. And when I first started this, I call it a diet, but it's not. But when I first started eating this way, I plugged everything into an Excel spreadsheet. Every calorie, every proteins, carbs, fats, the three main macros. I plugged everything into a spreadsheet for each meal, and then I auto summed every single column, and that's how I knew what my totals were for the day when it came to my macros, my protein, my total calories. But then once I don't use the spreadsheet anymore because I don't need to. I don't look at labels in the grocery store anymore because I don't really need to. I know what's in the food that I'm eating. I know what I'm buying. So again, that's strong argument for keeping your diet very simple and consistent. It may sound boring, but the reason people fall off the wagon and the reason people can't lose weight and the reason their diets don't work is because they're eating too much of a variety of foods, and they're not really knowing what is in everything they're eating. Especially when it comes to how they're cooking it. If you're throwing stuff like butter in there or whatever, the way you cook foods can also have a huge impact on how many calories that meal is. So, you need to, in the beginning, you need to be really strict and count every calorie and read every label. But then once you know what you're doing and once you know what everything has in it, you don't have to do that anymore. And it's not nearly as difficult as, as people make it out to be. The hardest part is just being consistent with the diet itself and sticking to the diet. And if you do start to get a little bit bored and you want to switch things up a bit, you certainly can. But what you would want to do is you would want to say, okay, well, instead of such and such for dinner, I'd rather have this, and then find a different food or a different meal that basically still fits within that same calorie and macro range. So you're substituting one healthy meal for a different healthy meal to change things up a bit. But you also still know what you're consuming. Most people overeat, not because they overeat, but because they don't realize what's in everything they're actually eating. So that's why I started doing everything the way I did it. And then once I knew what I was eating and how much was in everything, it's second nature. I don't even have to think about it anymore. And like I said, I've maintained my weight for well over a year. I hardly do cardio anymore, which is my bad. I for my heart, I need to do the treadmill more, but the cardio is mostly for me to try and burn some fat and lose some weight. And I'm already doing that. So I've found, and once I'm down in the gym for 2.5 hours, the last thing I want to do is hop on the treadmill for another 30, 45 minutes. So one thing I've decided I need to do in 24 is instead, I need to basically back off the gym 1 or 2 days a week and have a cardio session instead, where I just go down to the gym and hit the treadmill instead. And so that is one thing I'm going to try and do. But I don't want to burn too many calories on the treadmill because I don't want to, my metabolism is in a really good place right now. So I don't want to mess up my metabolism by burning too many extra calories. And because then it might throw things off, or I'll have to actually eat more calories to compensate. So, and I don't really want to do that either. But I know this has been a long video, but I really wanted to be specific about, my meals and how I eat, because people are probably curious, and I do eat. Now, if you've ever worked with me, you will see I come into the office every day with my canvas bag, and that has my water in it, and it also has my meals. I mean, I would eat I didn't bring just lunch. I actually brought basically like the hobbits. I had 2 lunches. I had lunch 1 and lunch 2, and then I would also bring a few protein shakes to drink. So throughout the day, I was eating 2 small meals during the day, plus 2 protein shakes during that 8-hour day, and my water. So every 2.5 to 3 hours, I was consuming some more calories, mostly protein. Um, and that kept me alert. It kept me from being hungry. It helped get the calories in I needed every day. And it helped keep me from, it helped keep my mind wandering over to like the snacks that they had, and every now and then, and again, if I wanted a bag of chips, fuck it, I'll have a bag of chips. It's 100 and some calories. It's no big deal. But that was not my daily routine. I pretty much stuck with the food that I brought with me. If people started passing menus around, oh, do you want to order lunch? Do you want? No, I'm fine. I already brought my lunch. I'm on a budget. I'm poor. I have my lunch with me, and I would just heat up my lunch and I would eat it. And everybody thought I was totally antisocial, but I don't care. So it is possible to stay on a routine, but you do have to work at it. It's just like the gym itself. It's not going to do it for you. So you really do have to have the right mindset. But I do promise you, once you get into that kind of mentality and once you get used to the routine itself, it really, you don't even think about it anymore. And it's second nature. So if you have any questions, please message me. I'd be glad to, share any other advice or opinions or anything that you might have questions about. Because I've tried just about everything. So, but this works for me, and I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I'm eating things that I like to eat. I'm still eating some stuff that's fun, like the Rice Krispie treats. That's all I have a sweet tooth. That's my sweet tooth for the day. That's my sugar, and I'm good. So it's worked really well for me, and I guess the thing is that you want to walk away with is keep it simple. The diet and the food doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be a ton of different stuff. Just keep it simple. If you keep it simple, it makes your life much easier, and you'll start to see results if you're trying to lose weight or whatever your goal is. You'll start to see results faster because you're keeping things more simple. So if you have any questions, it's Turbo Diesel Fitness, and you can shoot me an email, or you can, in the comments, you can ask questions or whatever, and I will get back to you. So thank you for listening.